Why am I getting queued against survivors with 10,000 hours? Hello gang, I am me. I'm a slightly irrelevant content creator. I've got a couple opinions on Dead by Daylight right now. Dead by Daylight is obviously a difficult game to balance. You've got hundreds of perks, tons of killers, tons of maps. It's going to be difficult to get every single aspect of this game completely fair for both killers and survivors alike. But recently, a new list of patches came out for the PTB on Tuesday, and I feel like a lot of these changes just seem completely overkill for no reason whatsoever. So I'm just gonna read out a lot of the new updates. The first one is the slugging reduction update, which at its core seems like a good idea until you read into it. So, if a survivor is left in the dying state for a total of 90 seconds during a match, they gain the ability to pick themselves up after fully recovering. This also seems to stack with perks like Exponential and I'm guessing Unbreakable. This is going to be a big issue if you're going against like 4 stacks and bully squads, because you're going to be put in this situation where if you pick up the survivor, someone can come in with a background player and stun you. But if you leave the survivor on the ground, then they can just pick themselves back up. This just results in a lose-lose scenario where the killer can't really do anything about it except just proxy camp the survivor. But if the survivor accounts for this proxy camping, they might bring a perk like Soul Guard, which nets them a free hit. The next part of these updates is the anti-tunneling measures, and there is a lot to unwrap here. So first things first, when a survivor is hooked, their hook status is hidden from the killer, and when they're unhooked, there is no notification and their hook status isn't revealed immediately. But this is disabled once all the generators are done. Now, all this is going to do is encourage killers to camp hooks more often. I understand that's supposed to give survivors, extra time to get away from the hook or maybe heal, but if a killer cannot see when someone's going to be on hook and when someone isn't going to be on hook, they're just going to stand in a position where the hook timer doesn't go up, as well as being in that position they can just see when they get unhooked. So it's just going to, again, a lose-lose scenario for survivors and killers alike. Now, once a survivor gets unhooked, they gain the following status effects for a limited time. So they get your normal borrowed time, so haste and endurance, but they also get this new status effect called elusive. What elusive does is you don't collide with other players, you don't collide with the killer, you don't collide with the survivor. It's like the on-rail, you can just walk right through them. You're also immune to killer instinct and immune to you're immune to having your aura revealed. But these effects are all lost when you perform a conspicuous action. Now, the big glaring issue is body blocking is nowhere near as strong as it would be. So, in a way, this can almost make endurance almost nowhere near as valuable as it once was. Where normally once you get unhooked, you would take a protection hit and then run away. And then maybe if you had an anti-tunneling perk, that could come in clutch as well. But now you can't body block as effectively. So it's just going to make unhooking survivors in front of the killer not as strong. So to cut a long story short, I suppose, these changes are going to make camping more common. It's going to make it much more risky to unhook a survivor if you're injured, especially because that survivor will not be able to take a protection hit. The aura reading and the killer instinct changes don't have any value, in my opinion. Now, all of this stuff I've been talking about is quite lenient compared to what is the massive middle finger for killer players. But first, I'm going to start with the benefits. First things first. After completing a unique hook, which is a survivor not being hooked consecutively, killers get the following benefits. Bonus damage for the next generator kick, so base kit pop goes for Weasel. They get temporary haste, it's not specified how much. They temporarily reveal a survivor, so base kit barbecue and chili. Now here is the big issue. If a survivor dies before 6 total hook states, meaning if a survivor is bad at the game and they die early on, every other survivor gets a repair speed bonus for the rest of the game. If a survivor that was last hooked is sacrificed or killed, generators cannot be regressed or blocked. I don't know for how long. But essentially, if you are bad at the game and you die early on, you punish the killer. Now, if the killer is actually tunneling, they get punished, but with how much you get nerfed, what is the point of tunneling? In my opinion, the slugging changes and the tunneling changes are really unnecessary. There are so many perks which can be used to counter slugging. A perk that came out in the last chapter, Conviction, completely counters slugging to the point where if you're running Conviction, anyone who's going to slug you is just going to get completely countered. So the slugging changes seem unnecessary. I don't get why they need basic unbreakable. And the overkill is they also get base kit tenacity. But my biggest issue is the tunneling changes. And I've said before, if you are bad at the game and you die early on, then the killer gets punished. I don't know why they had to add the tunneling changes. Decisive Strike is already a very good anti-tunneling perk. Off the Record is already a very good anti-tunneling perk. I don't know why survivors need more hand-holding. If you're getting tunneled every single game, you'd think you would run anti-tunneling perks. And if you're not getting tunneled every single game, then tunneling is not that big of an issue. Now, behaviour these days have been proving to be incredibly lazy. They released the Walking Dead chapter with so many bugs, the biggest offenders being Streetwise, essentially being a callback to the old days of Brand New Pirate where you could finish a generator immediately. And they didn't kill switch Streetwise immediately, they said it wasn't that big of an issue. And then realised it was that big of an issue, and then kill switched it. Last Stand was bugged for some reason where they got a permanent finesse. It took them forever to kill switch that. And now there's the finesse no mirror bug where you can get permanent finesse. Gen rushing's a bit of a problem where even if you're good at the game and you manage to hook a survivor early on, chances are 1, maybe even 2 generators can be finished. At high MMR, survivors know that generators are a very big priority and they need to stick to generators when they're not in a chase. And now that survivors can potentially do generators faster if someone dies early on, this just makes gen rushing an even bigger problem. We're going to be at a state in Dead by Daylight where 4 stacks can bring 3 toolboxes with entire gen rushing builds, and then 1 person can take on every single chase. And if they die early on, then you haven't made the game any easier for yourself because every survivor can just do a generator even faster than before. I don't see why survivors need so many base kit perks. I feel like at the core, especially at high MMR, so the game feels so survivor-sided. Generators get completed so quickly, and if you're not running full generator regression builds of Pain Res, Deadman Switch, Pop Goes the Weasel, Call O'Brien Overcharge, you're probably going to lose. You have to bring at least one gen regression perk, which in turn makes the game very boring for killers because they have to use very boring perks so they don't get gen rushed all the way to the exit gates. Furthermore, I feel like the slugging issue has already been addressed with Conviction, and tunneling can be countered by just making more killer perks be centered around getting unique hooks like No Way Out. So my final thoughts, I'm not happy with this update. It's not been confirmed to be added to the game yet. It's going to be tested in the PTB, and hopefully Behaviour realise how bad this idea is. I mean, they went back on the haystacking update, so it's entirely possible they'll go back in this one. But all this does is cater to incredibly bad Survivor players who think the game's killer-sided. Anyway, thank you for sticking till the end and dealing with my whining. I've got a lot of opinions on this matter. I might do more videos like these, because Dead by Daylight's in a pretty bad state right now, and these changes aren't going to make it any better. Again, none of this has been confirmed to officially come to the game. If it does, you'll be seeing a lot less killer players, because it doesn't even help survivors out with not being slugged and not being tunneled. In turn, it just makes the game harder for killers in an already difficult, when the game's already in a bad state for killers. But anyway, thanks a lot for watching. Subscribe or something, I don't know, and take care.